I've always been fascinated by the unknown, the kind of horror that crawls beneath the surface and lingers in the shadows. Today's story comes from Stefan Michalak, who in 1967 was hiking near Falcon Lake in Manitoba, Canada. He was with his wife and two friends, but they soon split up into two separate couples. So it's just Stefan and his wife alone when suddenly he hears some rustling in the bushes. At first, he assumes it's just some small animals until he sees something emerge from the trees. It's round and silver and buzzing like a motor. Now, normally, I would say that if this happened to me, I would run away. But Stefan is dressed for cold weather. He's got a full-length coat on, a scarf wrapped tight around his face, and he's wearing long trousers. So he's probably not thinking clearly. The creature comes closer, and now he can see that it has lights all over it, and it's making a terrible noise. Then suddenly, right in front of him, the craft explodes. A heat wave blasts him, and rocks and dirt are thrown everywhere. And then it hits him. Stefan faints. When he comes to, he looks around and realizes that his wife is gone. The only other sign of her is a set of footprints leading away from the crater left by the explosion. These footprints, by the way, have been matched with the prints left at another UFO crash site. That detail is pretty cool. But let's keep going. Stefan gets up and follows the footprints. They lead him to a lake where they disappear. He calls out for his wife, and no one answers. He never finds her, which means the case remains open. So, what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Was she taken by aliens, or did she just run off and leave her poor husband alone? I've got a theory about that, but I'm gonna save it for the end of the episode. Also, please remember to hit that subscribe button, because we're trying to reach a milestone before the end of the year, and you can help us do it. We also recently hit a milestone, so thank you so much to everyone who has subscribed in the last couple weeks. It means a lot to me personally, and it helps keep the show going. So, thank you. Okay, it's time for another terrifying tale. The year is 1947, and an unidentified flying object has just crashed in the woods near Roswell, New Mexico. The military quickly arrives on the scene and begins an investigation. Major Jesse Marcel is put in charge of the case, and soon emerges from the woods holding a piece of foil that he claims is from the flying object. News of the crash and recovery reaches the national media, and people from all over the country begin to descend upon Roswell, eager to get a glimpse of the wreckage and perhaps even the aliens themselves. But the military is quick to pour one. They claim that the wreckage is actually from a crashed balloon and that there were never any aliens involved. The townspeople are disappointed but accept the explanation. Or do they? Years later, conspiracy theorists will begin to question the official story. They'll claim that the government covered up the truth about the Roswell incident, and that the flying object was actually an alien spacecraft. To this day, the Roswell incident remains one of the most famous UFO sightings in history, and there are still people who believe that there is more to the story than the government is letting on. All right. It's time for a quick break. When you come back, I'm going to tell you about the most haunted place in the world. But first, I need you to do 3 things. No, not those things. Okay, the 3 things I want you to do are: 1, hit that thumbs up button if you're enjoying the show. 2, make sure you're subscribed. And 3, go to our website, where you can find exclusive content you won't find anywhere else. Welcome back. Our next story comes from Reddit user SleepD. They were visiting Krakow in Poland with their friend when they decided to check out the famous Wawel Castle. This castle dates back to the 14th century and is one of the most popular tourist destinations in Poland. As they were exploring the castle, they noticed a group of tourists gathered around a particular staircase. Curious, they decided to join the group, and that's when they saw it. An old woman was slowly making her way up the stairs. She was hunched over and seemed to be in pain, but it was her face that really disturbed them. The woman's face was covered in wrinkles, and her eyes were blank and staring. As they watched, the woman continued to climb the stairs. She moved with a strange, jerky motion that seemed unnatural. After what felt like an eternity, the woman finally reached the top of the stairs and disappeared around a corner. Sleep Deep and their friend exchanged uneasy glances. They had never seen anything like that before, but something about the woman's appearance and movements had deeply disturbed them, and they couldn't shake the feeling that they were witnessing something truly creepy. All right, I've got my very own spooky story for you. It comes from when I lived in Chicago. There was a rumor going around that there was a ghost cat that haunted the subway tunnels. Apparently, this cat had died in a freak accident on the job, maybe electrocuted itself or something. Anyway, it was haunting the subway by appearing to passengers on the trains, and then sauntering off into the darkness when the doors opened. Naturally, I was skeptical, but I decided why not. I love a good ghost story, and I'm in Chicago a lot these days anyway. So I rode the subway around by myself late at night. I didn't see any ghosts, cats, or otherwise, but then again, I wasn't really looking. I mean, I looked around a little bit, but mostly I was listening, you know, just in case. Then, suddenly I heard it. It was a quiet, meandering sound, like footsteps padding along the tunnel. They were getting closer. I could hear them coming down the track towards me. My heart started racing, and I strained to listen. Then suddenly, the train lurched to a halt, and the footsteps stopped. I told myself it was nothing, probably just some guy walking through the station. But then the doors opened and I saw. Wait, hold on. You might have heard that sound effect before. Buzzing. Yeah, sorry. I guess I just really like that sound effect. Back to the story. I saw an old woman with blank eyes and a white, wrinkled face. She was slowly making her way up the stairs. She shuffled out of sight and then reappeared at the top of the stairs. And now, for something completely different. There once was a man who lived in a haunted house. He didn't know it was haunted, of course. No one had told him, and he certainly hadn't seen any ghosts. But the house had a secret. There was a ghost cat living in the walls. The cat would meow at night, and the man would wake up wondering if he was going crazy. One day, the man decided that he'd had enough of the noise. He called a priest and asked him to come and bless the house. The priest arrived and began to walk through the rooms, sprinkling holy water and chanting prayers. The man watched nervously, hoping that the ghost cat would stay away. But as soon as the priest left, the meowing started up again. The man was about to give up hope when he heard a noise. The ghost cat was coming down the stairs. The man froze as the cat approached. It was a big, fluffy cat with glowing green eyes, and then it spoke. It said, "You must leave this house at once. It is cursed, and you will never find peace here." The man screamed and ran out of the house. He never went back, and to this day, no one knows what happened to him, or to the ghost cat. Now it's time for the moment you've been waiting for. What do you think happened to Stefan's wife? Did she get taken by aliens or did she run off? Well, I think she probably ran off. But let me explain. Stefan was dressed head to toe in thick clothing, so it would have been hard for him to move fast. If his wife was scared of the UFO, which, let's be honest, I think we can all agree that she should have been, she probably ran away as fast as she could. And since Stefan was slow and plodding along in his thick winter clothes, she may have gotten far enough ahead that he could no longer see her footprints. Also, if the UFO had just exploded, it's possible that the blast threw her off balance, and she fell into the lake. Maybe she's a great swimmer and swam to shore and then took off running. Who knows? The point is, I think she probably got scared and ran off, but then something happened that made her disappear. What that was, I don't know, but it wasn't aliens. Now it's time to make your voice heard. Comment below with your thoughts on today's stories. And if you dare, share your own spooky story. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time, stay safe and stay curious.